Speaker Boehner and myself just a few minutes ago. This is the statement. We have agreed to a historic amount of cuts for the remainder of this fiscal year, as well as short-term bridge that will give us time to avoid a shutdown while we get the agreement through both houses and to the President. We will cut $78.5 billion below the President's 2011 budget proposal, and we've reached an agreement on the policy riders. In the meantime, we'll pass a short-term resolution to keep the government running through Thursday. That short-term bridge will cut the first $2 billion of the total savings. Mr. President, I first of all want to express my appreciation to the Speaker and his office. It's been a grueling process. We didn't do it at this late hour for drama. We did it because it's been very hard to arrive at this point. I also want to express my appreciation to my counterpart, Senator McConnell. We've talked during this process on a number of occasions. We have, as we say here, on many occasions it's turned out to be, we have really a terrific relationship. We do our best to protect each caucus. We have our battles here, but he's really a pleasure to work with, and I admire and appreciate his work for the people of Kentucky and the country. Mr. President, this has been a long process. It has not been an easy process. Both sides have had to make tough choices, but tough choices are what this job's all about. I think it's important to note, Mr. President, as we said in this statement, this is historic what we've done. $78.5 billion below the 2011 budget that we have been working off of. We've worked on many riders. What we've done has been difficult but important for the country. We all agree that there are many cuts that have to take place in the future. We understand that. We must get this country's fiscal house in order. But if the American people have to make tough choices, and they're doing it every day, so should their leaders. That's our responsibility, all 100 of us, and 435 members of the House. The Speaker and I have reached an agreement that I've read that will cut spending and keep the country running. We've agreed to a historic level of cuts for the remainder of this fiscal year, as well as a short-term bridge that will give us time to avoid a shutdown while we get this agreement through both houses and to the President. I repeat, we will cut $78.5 billion, and we've reached an agreement, I repeat for the second time, on the policy riders. I do that because that has not been easy. In the meantime, we'll pass a short-term resolution to keep the government running through this coming Friday. That short-term bridge will cut the first $2 billion of the total savings that we've already talked to, the 78.5. So, Mr. President, with the permission of the Republican leader, ask unanimous consent, the Senate proceed to counter number 28, H.R. 1363, that a Reed-McConnell substitute amendment, a 7-day continuing resolution, which is at the desk, be agreed to the bill as amended, be read a third time, and the Senate proceed to vote on passage of the bill as amended, that the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid on the table, with all the above occurring with no intervening action or debate.
Is there objection?
Mr. President.
The Republican leader.
Let me thank my friend, the Majority Leader, and Speaker Boehner for their outstanding work during this difficult negotiation. You know, Mr. President, we had an opportunity tonight to decide whether we wanted to repeat history or make history. Had we chosen to repeat history, we would have allowed a government shutdown. Instead, we decided to make history by implementing in the middle of this fiscal year, as the Majority Leaders indicated, substantial reductions in spending. Now, these reductions, Mr. President, are in the billions. Once we get through this process, by the end of next week, we will move on to a much larger discussion about how we save trillions. By enacting, hopefully on a bipartisan basis, a budget that genuinely begins to get on top of this problem. And the problem, as we all know, is $14 trillion in debt and over $53 trillion in unfunded liabilities. The President's asked us to raise the debt ceiling. And Senate Republicans and House Republicans, and I hope many Democrats as well, are going to say, Mr. President, In order to raise the debt ceiling, we need to do something significant about the debt. My definition of significant, Mr. President, is that the markets view it as significant, the American people view it as significant, and foreign countries view it as significant. So for tonight, again, I congratulate the Majority Leader and the Speaker. This is an important first step, but just the beginning of what we need to do to get our house, our fiscal house, in order.
Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
The Republican leader is right. We have a lot of work to do. The one thing I want to mention is how much I appreciate the support of the American people. Of course, they knew that we needed to get this done, but also the business community of our country. I had a conversation earlier today with Tom Donahue, the president of the Chamber of Commerce. It was so important to his organization that we complete this, the Business Roundtable. And organizations all over America understand how important this is. But I want to just mention one more person. I know the night is late. Always an unsung hero, but really a hero among heroes. And that's the chairman of the Appropriations Committee. Dan Inouye is here behind me tonight. He has been with his staff, tireless staff, working so hard. I applaud his person, Charlie Hoy, who has a fantastic knowledge of what goes on in this country as it relates to money. He came to the Senate in 1983, been here all these years working in the Appropriations Committee. I'm not going to go through all the staff, but it is important to mention that my Chief of Staff, David Crone, has worked so very, very hard. And I want to mention one other person. I never met him until we started this, what we've been through, and that's, I hope I don't get him in trouble, but that's John Boehner's Chief of Staff, Barry Jackson. He is a real professional. It's been very difficult to work through all this stuff, but I admire his professionalism. And of course, the White House staff has been indispensable. I would hope we could have the consent agreement approved at this time.
Is there objection to the Majority Leader's request? Without objection, so ordered. Is there further debate on the bill as amended?
Not, all those in favor say aye.
If not, all those in favor of the bill as amended say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. The bill is amended as passed. You didn't mean passed as amended?